Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're cracking open the book of Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel.
It's got these wild visions, right?
Totally.
Visions about empires rising and falling, and we get these glimpses into like the fate of nations.
It's a book that's really captivated people for centuries.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just ancient history though, is it?
No.
It's about faith, power, that feeling that even when things seem totally crazy, there's this bigger plan at work.
Totally. Like you're not just caught in the chaos, you know? Okay, so Daniel chapter 6. Imagine this. You're at the top of your game. You work for like the most powerful person in the world.
The king.
Right. But suddenly you're caught in this web of like jealousy and intrigue.
It's a total workplace drama.
It is.
But seriously, this is where we see how strong Daniel's faith really is. He's told to do something that goes against everything he believes in.
He's told he can only pray to the king.
Can you imagine that?
I can't.
In this day and age,
Yeah.
being told you can only pray to the king.
Right. Like how would you even process that? So what does Daniel do? He keeps praying openly 3 times a day, facing Jerusalem. He doesn't back down.
It's almost impossible to imagine in our world, that kind of defiance. But he was challenging the idea that any human ruler could dictate how people connect with God.
And that's what's so powerful about this story. So Daniel gets punished for this, right? But not just like a slap on the wrist. We're talking thrown into a den of lions.
Talk about facing your fears.
Right. This isn't just some history lesson.
No, it's about trusting that there's something bigger at play, even when you're surrounded by danger.
And that's exactly what happens. Daniel's faith, it doesn't just protect him. It makes the king realize there's a power greater than himself.
It makes you think, what does it mean to have that kind of faith? How can we tap into that in our own lives when we face challenges?
Okay, so we're going to switch gears a bit and head to Daniel chapter 7.
Okay.
This is where things get really visionary, symbolic beasts, heavenly courtrooms, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, this is where Daniel's story goes to a whole other level. He's dealing with these cosmic spiritual forces.
So picture this. Daniel has this dream. And in this dream, there are 4 beasts. They come out of the sea, and each beast, it's like it represents a different empire.
Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece.
And finally, Rome, right?
Yes, Rome.
Yeah.
And Rome is this monstrous beast, iron teeth.
Intense.
It's like this crash course in ancient history, but with this really powerful spiritual dimension. What's fascinating is that Daniel's connecting earthly kingdoms to this battle of good and evil. It's not just who has the biggest army. It's about something much bigger.
Right, like there are these spiritual forces working behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Okay, so then, emerging from the 4th beast, Rome, we get this little horn. What's up with that?
Yes, the little horn. This symbolizes a force. It's small, but it's powerful. It stands in opposition to God. It persecutes his people.
So we have this image of empires getting stronger and stronger, but there's this constant reminder that real power lies somewhere else entirely.
Like a warning, almost. No matter how scary these earthly powers seem, there's a higher authority, a higher power, and ultimately they will be judged.
And then, bam, the scene changes completely. Now Daniel's in this heavenly courtroom.
Talk about a power shift. We go from beasts to divine judgment.
Right. Like those empires, they might have thought they were calling the shots.
But this is a reminder that no earthly power is absolute. There's a higher court.
Exactly. And in this courtroom, there's someone called the Son of Man. He's given dominion, glory, and everlasting kingdom. It's this powerful image of hope, like, yeah, the world's got problems, but good triumphs in the end.
It reminds us that God's still in control, even when it looks like evil's winning. He hasn't forgotten his promises, and he's working through history to bring about his
I love that. That history isn't random. There's a purpose, a direction.
It's like, imagine looking at a tapestry, but you're at the back of it. All you see are tangled threads. It seems chaotic.
Right, you can't make sense of it.
Exactly. But flip it over. Suddenly, you see this intricate design, this beautiful picture. That's what this vision is like. We're getting a glimpse of the design behind the chaos of history.
Okay, so we've got lions, beasts, heavenly courtrooms.
Yeah.
Ready for more. Daniel chapter 8. We're upping the ante rams. Goats. That mysterious little horn is back.
This chapter, it zooms in on a couple of those empires, Medo-Persia and Greece.
Yeah.
And yeah, the little horn, always up to no good.
So what does Daniel see this time? Give us the rundown.
He sees a ram, 2 horns. That's Medo-Persia. Powerful, right? But then a goat shows up. Single horn, but super prominent.
And the goat is Greece, Alexander the Great, to be exact.
Spot on. And this goat, it's like lightning, just takes down the ram. That's how fast Alexander conquered the Medo-Persian Empire.
Wow. But that single horn, it doesn't last forever, does it?
Nope. It breaks into 4 smaller horns.
Yep.
That's the division of Alexander's empire after he died. Split between his generals, weakens Greece, sets the stage for Rome.
So it's not just one empire replacing another. There's this whole layer of internal struggles, power grabs that shake everything.
Absolutely. And that's a good lesson for us today, too. Things that seem strong, stable, there are always things that can cause them to crumble.
We've got these empires rising and falling, but then there's always this spiritual conflict in the background of Daniel's visions. It's like history's just the stage, but the real drama is this battle of good and evil.
And just when you think it can't get more symbolic, that little horn reappears in Daniel chapter 8.
Right, it's like a constant reminder that the forces of darkness, they never give up.
This time, the little horn is a future ruler who challenges God, messes with the temple, persecutes God's people.
So, not great, but there's more to it, right? The vision gives us this time frame, 2,300 days, and then the sanctuary will be cleansed.
2,300 days. It's incredibly specific.
What's the deal with that? What does it mean?
People have been trying to figure that out for ages, lots of interpretations. But a lot of people think it points to a future time of judgment, purification. God sets things right, restores balance.
So it's not enough to understand the past. We're looking ahead to a time of cleansing, renewal.
Exactly. We might not have all the answers. The future might seem uncertain, but we can trust in God's plan.
That's a powerful thing to remember, especially now, when the world feels kind of dark and uncertain. There's a bigger picture, a divine plan unfolding, even if we can't always see it clearly.
And speaking of the bigger picture, remember that figure from earlier, the son of Man?
Oh yeah, from Daniel chapter 7, the one in the heavenly courtroom.
Right, him. We need to talk about what he represents in all this.
So the son of man, right, he's in that heavenly courtroom scene. What's the big takeaway there?
It's all about God's victory over evil, ultimately. The Son of Man isn't just some judge, he's a king. He has dominion, glory, and eternal kingdom. It's a huge statement about where true authority is.
He's not just there to judge, though. He's going to rule, too, with justice and righteousness.
Exactly. God promises to establish his kingdom right here on earth. Peace, justice, righteousness. A future where things are made right, where all the chaos and bad stuff, it's overcome.
I'm struck by how Daniel uses these really crazy images, beasts, horns, kingdoms,
right,
to talk about these really deep spiritual truths, God, judgment, humanity's purpose.
That's what makes Daniel so interesting, even now. It's not just some abstract theology, it's vivid, it's memorable, even thousands of years later.
And for Daniel and his people, they were living in exile, surrounded by empires. These visions must have been really encouraging for them.
Absolutely. It's like this message of hope when they were being oppressed. God's in control, even when everything's falling apart.
We've been talking about empires and kingdoms and all this huge stuff, but there's something really personal about Daniel's story too, don't you think?
Oh, totally.
He's a man of faith, tested over and over, but he never gives up on God.
It's a powerful example for us. Faith isn't just about believing something crazy. It's about living it out, especially when it's hard.
It's easy to talk about faith when things are good, but when we're tested, when we have doubts, that's when it really matters.
That's where Daniel's story is so powerful. He could have given up, compromised what he believed just to make things easier, but he refused to bow down to anyone except God.
It takes us back to that lion's den, right? Daniel chapter 6. Faith in action, courage and conviction leading to something unexpected.
It shows us that faith has consequences. It can challenge people, it can make us stand out, it can even be dangerous. But God is faithful to those who are faithful to him, even when it's hard.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Daniel, what are your big takeaways? What sticks with you?
That sense of hope, for sure. When things are dark, uncertain, there's a bigger story going on. God has a plan, and that gives us hope, meaning, purpose.
I love that. A call to be courageous, convicted, knowing that even when we're challenged, our faith can make us strong. So here's something to think about as you go about your day. What are your lion's dens? Those places where you're challenged to really live out what you believe. And how can Daniel's story inspire you to face those challenges, trusting in something bigger than yourself?
That's a great thought. Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive.
Thanks for being here. We'll be back soon with another deep dive, exploring history, faith, and what it all means for us.